My stepmother revealed my adoption at family dinner, and I revealed her affair at her daughter's wedding. I was 24 when Vanessa told everyone at Thanksgiving dinner that I wasn't really part of the family. She waited until dessert was being served, until my father's sister and her husband and their 3 kids were all seated around the table, until my younger half-sister Brooke was cutting into the pumpkin pie. Then Vanessa set down her wine glass and said, "You know, I think it's time everyone knew the truth about Claire. She's adopted. Stephen took her in after her mother abandoned her, but she's not actually his biological daughter. I thought the family should finally know." The room went silent. My fork clattered against my plate. My father's face drained of color. Aunt Melissa's mouth fell open. Brooke stopped mid-slice and stared at me with an expression I couldn't read. I'd known I was adopted since I was 8 years old. My father had sat me down in my bedroom and explained gently that my birth mother had struggled with addiction and couldn't care for me, that he'd been granted full custody when I was 3, that he loved me completely and I was his daughter in every way that mattered. He'd made me promise to keep it private until I was ready to tell people myself. For 16 years, I'd kept that promise. "Vanessa," my father said, his voice tight with barely controlled anger, "that was not your information to share." Vanessa shrugged and took another sip of wine. "Oh, come on. It's not some terrible secret. I just think honesty is important in families. Besides, Claire's an adult now. She can handle people knowing the truth about where she came from." She looked at me with that smile she wore when she wanted to seem kind, but was actually twisting the knife. "You're not ashamed of being adopted, are you, sweetheart? There's nothing wrong with it." I stared at her across the table. This woman my father had married 5 years ago after my mother's death. This woman who'd spent those 5 years making subtle comments about how I didn't quite fit in, how Brooke was the real daughter, how I should be grateful my father had taken me in. I'd tolerated it because my father loved her and because fighting back seemed petty. But sitting there with everyone staring at me, with my most personal information weaponized for entertainment, I felt something shift inside me. "Why would you tell everyone that?" I asked quietly. Vanessa waved her hand dismissively. "Because secrets are toxic. And honestly, I'm tired of pretending you're Stephen's biological daughter when everyone can see you don't look anything like him or Brooke. It's exhausting maintaining the fiction." My father stood up abruptly. "Vanessa, I need to speak with you in the kitchen. Now." She rolled her eyes but followed him out of the dining room. I could hear their voices rising in the next room, my father's anger and Vanessa's defensive justifications blending into white noise. Aunt Melissa reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "I'm so sorry, Claire. That was completely inappropriate. Your family, adoption or not, you've always been family." I nodded and tried to smile, but I felt exposed and humiliated in front of relatives I'd known my entire life. The rest of dinner was awkward and brief. Everyone made excuses to leave early. Brooke avoided looking at me entirely. When the house finally emptied, I went upstairs to my old bedroom and sat on the bed staring at nothing. My father knocked on my door an hour later. He came in looking exhausted and sat down beside me. "I'm so sorry, Claire. I don't know why she did that. I've told her 1,000 times that your adoption was private, that you'd share it when you were ready." I leaned against his shoulder. "Why did you marry her?" He sighed heavily. "I was lonely after your mother died. Vanessa seemed kind at first. By the time I realized what she was really like, Brooke was in my life and I couldn't imagine walking away from her. She's only 15. She needs stability." I understood what he wasn't saying. He was trapped between protecting me and protecting his younger daughter from a broken home. "Has she always known about the adoption?" I asked. My father nodded. "I told her before we got married. I thought she deserved to know our family history. I never imagined she'd use it against you." We sat in silence for a while. Then my father said, "I asked her to apologize. She refused. She said she didn't do anything wrong." I went back to my apartment that night with my father's apology ringing hollow in my ears. Vanessa had humiliated me deliberately, and there would be no consequences for it because my father wouldn't risk his marriage over something he considered tactless, but not malicious. I knew how this worked. Vanessa would continue making little comments, little reveals, little cruelties disguised as honesty, and my father would continue making excuses for her. Over the next few weeks, word spread through the extended family, and what happened next changed everything. To see the full story, click the link below or go on my channel.